Right now at 5, the name of the man who was pulled out of Shoal Creek is revealed.
Now we've got excessive heat warnings now for nearly every county in our area as the dangerous heat continues. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, a lawsuit seeks to stop funds from going to a charter school in Oklahoma.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. on this Wednesday morning. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is again already hot and muggy outside. We've got a heat index in Joplin of almost 90 degrees. Let's take a look at Skywatch Storm Tracker, and here's why. Now, 90% again of what you're seeing on there is not real. It's not actually happening. But what is actually happening is this little guy right here and this activity out to our west. And there is an ever so slight chance that some of this may give us at least a brief moment of some shower activity as it pushes on off to the south and east. There's unfortunately a better chance it will die out before it gets here, but some of us could see a few morning showers. And again, I don't think anybody's going to complain about a little bit of rain out there. Here's the excessive heat warnings. With the exception of this little 7 shape here, everybody under excessive heat warnings until at least 9 o'clock, and into southwest Missouri and parts of southeast Kansas, they run until 8. And again, this is for heat index values anywhere from 105 to 115 degrees. So we are again at this point where heat exhaustion is likely and heat stroke is possible. So if you do have to be outdoors, we can't emphasize it enough, and that's why we're continuing to remind you to take frequent breaks, stay hydrated, limit those outdoor activities, wear lightweight, light-colored clothing, and check on the elderly and pets, because this heat is dangerous and could potentially be deadly for some folks. MoDOT camera 20th and range line still looking off to the south. We're looking all right. It's been shaking a little bit, so we got a bit of a breeze out there. KDOT camera 69 and East 520th Avenue not looking too bad either. We're going to take a complete look at your forecast and how hot it's going to be and whether or not that relief is still on the way here in a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Authorities released the name of the driver who died in a single vehicle crash in Shoal Creek last week. He's 50-year-old Stephen L. Allen. You might recall he was driving an SUV last Thursday when it went into the creek. The vehicle was completely submerged by the time emergency crews arrived. Allen was found dead inside. We still don't have the official word on the cause of death or what led to the crash. The state of Missouri was scheduled to execute Johnny Johnson yesterday. Johnson kidnapped 6-year-old Casey Williamson, then brutally murdered her at an abandoned factory in 2002. Courts found that Johnson was competent at the time and is now competent. The execution proceeded as scheduled. His time of death was 6:33 p.m. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation steps in to assist Canadian County Sheriff's Office with an alleged sexual assault by a deputy. Authorities say Canadian County Deputy Wesley Wayne Hunter Jr. was transporting a woman from Bryan County to the Canadian County Jail for an outstanding warrant. During the transport, Hunter stopped in a remote location and sexually assaulted the female passenger. Hunter was arrested and booked into the Marshall County Jail on second-degree rape. A group of Oklahoma residents is suing to stop the state from establishing and funding what would be the nation's first religious public charter school. The lawsuit seeks to stop taxpayer funds from going to the St. Isidore of Seville Catholic Virtual School. Earlier this year, Oklahoma's Republican Governor Kevin Stitt signed a bill that would give parents in the state a tax incentive to send their children to private schools, including religious schools. And former President Donald Trump has received a historic 3rd criminal indictment, this time for his alleged attempts to stay in office after the 2020 election. The case has been randomly assigned to an Obama-appointed federal judge. Astrid Martinez has the latest on the charges and the reaction from New York.
Former President Donald Trump has been asked to appear in a Washington, D.C. federal court Thursday after a grand jury indicted him on 4 charges, all related to alleged efforts to hold on to power after he lost the 2020 presidential election.
The attack on our nation's capital on January 6, 2021, was an unprecedented assault on the seat of American democracy. As described in the indictment, It was fueled by lies.
The former president has repeatedly denied wrongdoing and is accusing special counsel Jack Smith of trying to interfere with the 2024 election.
This is an attack on free speech and political advocacy.
Sources tell CBS News that Trump is at his New Jersey golf club and that he is mapping out a strategy with his legal team to shift blame to lawyers that advised him after the 2020 election.
If the attorney is suggesting you go out and violate a criminal law, that's not a defense.
The 45-page charging document mentions 6 unnamed co-conspirators who had been enlisted to assist Trump in alleged efforts to retain power. A lawyer for conservative attorney John Eastman, who advised Trump at the time, said in a statement that the indictment, quote, relies on misleading presentation of the record, and adds if Dr. Eastman is indicted, he will go to trial. Trump's former vice president turned 2024 rival Mike Pence gave testimony before the grand jury. He said in a statement, the indictment serves as an important reminder. Anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
Law enforcement officials tell CBS News they are preparing for former President Trump to appear in person on Thursday afternoon, though he also has the option to appear virtually. The partner of fallen officer Brian Sicknick, who died after defending the Capitol from January 6 rioters, released a statement saying she is pleased with the indictment and hopes justice will be served. A new study says Missouri is among the best states for retirees to live. The study, conducted by the Bankrate, lists Missouri as the 4th best place to retire. Kansas also fared well at 11th best. Arkansas ranks 23rd, and Oklahoma came in 29th. The study considered such factors as housing costs, taxes, and healthcare quality. Topping the list was Iowa. At the bottom, Alaska. A city sales tax will continue to fund Parsons, Kansas emergency responders for at least another decade. The numbers are in, and Parsons voters overwhelmingly say yes to a proposal that will extend the city's half-cent public safety sales tax for another 10 years. With 544 voting yes and only 94 voting no, the tax supports funding competitive pay to retain experienced police officers and firefighters and to pay for training. It also helps buy vehicles and other critical equipment. That was the only area election yesterday, but several Missouri communities will head to the polls 6 days from today. Most of them are tax levy proposals. Some will be general sales tax, others will be taxes on marijuana sales. For a full list of the elections next week, go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the J.L. Hutchinson Little League Baseball stars are headed to Indiana to try and snag a spot in the World Series. Plus, Amazon's virtual health clinic can now see patients from all 50 states. And it's another hot day in the 4 states. We'll have how to stay safe in this heat with Chris and weather. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. J.L. Hutchinson Little League Baseball's All-Stars won from Pittsburgh, won the 12 and under Kansas State tournament last weekend. It's headed to the Midwest Regional Championships in India, hoping to punch their ticket to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania.
Bat meeting ball. A sound familiar to any baseball diamond. Unless, of course, the 12U team from J.L. Hutchinson Little League is out in the field.
So the highlight this season so far has been our tournament in Baxter. We went down there and first 3 games the kids pitched 3 consecutive no-hitters as a team, and then we faced a good Riverton team a second time, and they kind of got our backs against the wall, got back in it 6-5, and Keaton Peak came out and hit a home run to lead off the next inning, and then Luke Jones came back out and I think struck out 5 in the next 6 to get us finish out the game with Fisher closing. So, any team, no matter how good or bad they are, not to give up a hit in Little League 3 times in a row is impressive by the boys, and I was really proud of them, and to realize it happened 3 times in a row was pretty amazing.
Going on a run to a state championship like they have provides for some special memories.
I'm saving a no-hitter in left field by catching a fly ball.
What happened there?
Well, Fisher was pitching, threw one, he hit it. It was like a no-hitter, 0 to 15, and caught it, made sure they didn't get any.
For now, Pittsburgh prepares to take on another regional qualifier from North Dakota on Friday.
I think we'll be good. We know it's kind of a big game, and we'll probably definitely play our best because we know a lot's at stake.
Even with those high stakes, make no doubt about it, these kids from Pittsburgh are ready for the moment.
I don't know. I think I'll be fine.
JL Hutchinson begins play this Friday at 10 a.m. against North Dakota. It plays an 8-team double elimination tournament, which also includes the Little Leaguers from Webb City. Only one team from the region advances to the World Series. And in pro baseball, Major League trade deadline has officially come and gone. The Royals, Cardinals, and everyone else in the league won't be making any more trades for the rest of the season. Starting off with the Royals, relief pitcher Jose Cawas gets traded to the Cubs in exchange for outfielder Nelson Velasquez. KC also picks up left-handed pitcher Tucker Davidson from the Angels in exchange for cash considerations. And right before the deadline, Scott Barlow gets sent to San Diego for their number 10 prospect. Cardinals active the last day as well. Paul DeYoung, who had been with St. Louis since 2017 and was an all-star in 2019, gets sent to the Blue Jays along with cash as the Cards continue the fire sale of their 2023 team. They also send Jack Flaherty to the Orioles, who he had been with the organization since being a first-round draft pick in 2014. Well, still to come, the supermoon makes an appearance over Greece's Temple of Poseidon. And we get another check of that hot forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 on this Wednesday morning. We have made it halfway through the work week, which means we're getting that much closer to the relief that is on the way. If we can just hold on a couple more days, we're going to get there. We'll get through this together because this heat is oppressive. It's ridiculous, and I think everybody's done with it. I know I certainly am, and I'm pretty sure those of you at home are as well. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. Now, keep in mind, it's zoomed in pretty far, so the wobbling is not from like a 50-mile-an-hour wind. It's just because it's zoomed in, it picks up on the shake a little more, but we do have a little bit of a breeze. KDOT camera 69 and East 5 20th Avenue looking good as well as we kick off this Wednesday morning. Our camera at 7th and range line, of course, it is dark at this hour. We are sitting at 82 under these partly cloudy skies. It feels like 87. I mean, this is what it should be by the afternoon. And here it is like this in the morning hours because that dew point humidity both high, and they're going to stay that way. Look at these temperatures. Now stop looking at them because they're going to make you sad. 80 in Fort Scott, Nevada, 81 Iola, 83 Chanute, 82 Neodesha Shea Parsons, 80 Miami. I mean, there are 80s everywhere with the exception of just a few communities on the southeast side of our area. That is how hot it is, and that is a sign as to how much hotter it's going to be today. Now, we showed you the Skywatch Storm Tracker earlier. There are some showers and thunderstorms that are off to our northwest in central Kansas. Odds are they're not really going to hold together as they get closer, but a few of us could get a few showers out there if some of those little showers hold on. So we're hoping because we need some rain. I don't care what form it comes in, we need that rain. We're going to make it up to 91 by late morning, and then that's ahead of this. Hazy, hot, humid, just absolutely unpleasant out there. 103 for today's high. We'll see mostly clear skies heading into the afternoon hours, and as we head into this evening, it's no relief whatsoever, none at all. 103 by 6, 95 at 8, 89 by 10, just holding on to mostly clear skies. And our overnight low to 82 degrees. You can't even leave the windows open and let some fresh air in. It's too hot for that. And it's going to stay that way. We're up to 104 tomorrow, 103 possibly by Friday. Now, we do see some evening thunderstorm chances. It's a slight chance Thursday and then into Friday morning, but at least it's there. And our last super hot day looks to be Saturday. Now, I know it's not as hot as it has been, but it's almost 100 degrees. Then we have some evening thunderstorms. And those thunderstorm chances hold on as we go into next week. And as those thunderstorm chances build into the area, look at our temperatures back down mid-upper 80s, lower 90s, with a few more thunderstorm chances possible toward the end of next week. So that relief is on its way. We just have to get to Sunday. And then we're going to be able to cool down and take a break from this oppressive heat. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, Pfizer says it expects its new COVID-19 vaccine to get regulatory approval by the end of the month. The new shot targets the Omicron subvariant XBB 1.5. Pfizer says it has already manufactured the vaccine and is ready to roll it out in September. Things will be a bit different this time, though. This will be the first time COVID vaccine is made available directly from the manufacturer to the commercial market, rather than through the federal government. It's unclear if that will impact its adoption by the public. COVID vaccine rates have been down significantly for some time. Only about 17% of the population got the bivalent booster that became available last year. And it is never too early to plan, and some of the country's major pharmacy chains are urging people to schedule their flu vaccines now before the fall begins. CVS already is taking appointments, and the company says it also plans to offer the new COVID-19 vaccine and RSV shots. The government is recommending people 60 and older get the RSV vaccine. Walgreens says it also will offer flu shots and RSV vaccines and will make the COVID-19 vaccine available once the Food and Drug Administration authorizes it. A spokesperson for Rite Aid says the company will soon announce its vaccine plans. Meantime, Pfizer says it expects the FDA will approve its COVID-19 booster by the end of the month, and vaccines should be available by September. Amazon is expanding its footprint in healthcare. The company announced Tuesday its virtual clinic is now available in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Amazon Clinic started operating last November. It offers customers 24/7 access to telehealth treatment on its website and app. Amazon Clinic currently does not accept insurance, so patients can see the cost before they start their visit. Other companies like CVS, Walmart, and Walgreens offer similar services. Analysts say telehealth expanded during the pandemic, but recently the market growth has begun to slow. Thoughts of going back to the classroom may be exciting for some, but others may feel uneasy. Health experts say it's normal to be nervous, and kids may have more than one feeling at a time. Mandy Gaither has why parents can help with back-to-school anxiety.
Subtract summer, add a new classroom, new teacher, new classmates, and maybe a little anxiety about it all.
Will I have friends? Will I like my teacher? Will I find my group?
Licensed Strong for Life therapist Jody Baumstein says it's normal to be anxious about starting something new, and those feelings of anxiety may look different in children than in adults.
If you notice that they are really fidgety or tearful, or they can't make eye contact when you are talking about school, that might be a good indicator that they're feeling some uneasiness.
Baumstein says to first figure out what's causing the anxiety by asking open-ended questions and listening to your child. You can then put their mind at ease through problem solving.
If they're really nervous about being able to unlock their locker quickly, get a lock at home and help them practice it.
While you can't remove all stress in a child's life, Baumstein says healthy habits can help. That includes quality sleep, good nutrition, being active, reducing screen time, and teaching coping skills.
Like learning how to take really deep breaths to calm their body so that their brain is able to think clearly. Or teaching them how to use their senses to bring them into the present moment.
The therapist says parents should make sure that they don't put their own anxieties onto children, and to keep talking with children about school throughout the year, as their feelings may change. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we've got ourselves another day of excessive heat warnings across the area. We're talking heat index values anywhere from 105 to 115 degrees. We'll take a look at that full forecast, and we might see some relief a little later in the show. We'll be right back.
Good morning, I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy with your KOAM News Update. We brought you the story of the establishment of the Miami Public School Campus Police Department a few months ago. As we get closer to the school year, the school district and police department are making preparations to keep students and teachers as safe as possible this year. And due to the recent intense heat, air conditioning repair services are in high demand. A local company says this summer they've received 40% more calls about malfunctioning ACs than usual. To avoid problems, specialists recommend changing the filter and washing the condenser coil regularly, as these are some of the most common problems. They also suggest doing an annual maintenance to make sure that the equipment will be ready when the temperatures rise.
And those temperatures continue to rise across the area. Lower 100s again for most of us. Hazy, hot, humid, excessive heat warnings out there. Heat index values 105 to 115 under mostly clear skies. We remain mostly clear and hot heading into the evening, and then eventually we drop back into the upper 70s and lower 80s overnight. We hold on to the triple digits again through at least Friday. By Saturday, still hot, 97, and then we get storm chances increasing and temperatures dropping as we head into the next week, and temperatures back into the upper 80s, lower 90s.
Right now at 5:30, we learn more about the partnership between the city of Joplin and its school district for putting in a crosswalk.
Dangerous heat continues across the area. Excessive heat warnings, heat index values up there up to 115 degrees. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, one Joplin company is receiving a surplus of calls to help local residents beat this summer heat.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:29 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. We are halfway through the week.
That's right.
And if you
it's
remember,
Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, and remember what we told you. As we get closer to the weekend, we get closer to relief from this terrible, awful heat across the area.
That.
And we could see a little brief relief for some of us this morning. Here's a look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Now, as we mentioned earlier, about 98% of what you see out there is not real. However, you can tell this guy's real. It's picking up some lightning. And this activity here is actually happening as well. And then out to our west, this activity is most definitely happening. So what we're watching is these little gust fronts, these little gravity waves that are pushing ahead of some decaying thunderstorms out across west central Kansas. What we're hopeful for is that we'll get at least a few additional showers and maybe even a thunderstorm or two to develop along this and push southeast across the area. Now, they may not last long, and so they may only make it into just parts of southeast Kansas before they begin to fizzle out, but at least some of us may see some additional rain showers as we head through the morning hours. After that, though, virtually all of us are going to see this. These are excessive heat warnings for nearly every county in our area. And as we mentioned, this is for heat index values anywhere from 105 to 115 degrees, making heat exhaustion likely and heat stroke very possible out there. So if you are outdoors, we're going to remind you of this until this heat's gone, because you've got to take this seriously. You got to stay hydrated, take frequent breaks, limit your outdoor activities, wear those lightweight, light-colored clothes, and check on the elderly and pets. As we mentioned, there is relief on the way, and we're going to have a complete look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. And we're learning more about a partnership between Joplin schools and the city of Joplin to install a crosswalk on 20th Street adjacent to Joplin High School. School officials say students crossing 20th Street have been a safety concern for some time. After months of discussions, the city of Joplin and the school district agreed to install a lighted crosswalk with a safety island between 2 lanes. The city and school district agreed to split the installment cost, which is approximately $38,000.
Parents that had brought up the need as well. And so we have been working in conjunction with the city to find first of all, a feasible solution, and then second of all, an affordable solution. And I believe that we have finally come to that jointly with the city.
Petite hopes the crosswalk will be installed before the first day of school. We brought you the story of the establishment of the Miami Public School Campus Police Department a few months ago. As we get closer to the school year, the school district and police department are making preparations to keep students and teachers as safe as possible this year.
The vision of the school to start our new campus police department was to better serve our students and our community. We've had a great partnership with the Miami Police Department for the last 20 years, but we've just branched off this way. We'll have an officer in every school throughout the school days and the school year.
The campus police department and administration will continue to make preparations for when students come back on August 17th. Cities and counties in Missouri can no longer opt out of the state's back-to-school sales tax holiday weekend. The Missouri State Treasurer, Vivek Malik, visited Missouri Southern to remind families about the 3-day sales tax holiday weekend. During the holiday, all state sales taxes will be waived for qualifying back-to-school supplies. In the past, cities and counties were able to still collect local taxes, but now Malik says that's no longer the case.
Because I think education is very dear to me. That is something which brought me out of trenches. And I think for anybody to succeed or make a mark in their life, education is the key. And if you want your next generation to succeed, it is important that we do that saving today so that they can have the same opportunities that we had.
That tax-free holiday runs from Friday through Sunday. With all this intense heat, air conditioning repair services are in high demand. One Joplin company says this summer they are receiving 40% more calls about malfunctioning AC units than ever before. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
During a summer of scorching heat, it's nice to be able to go into a restaurant, cool off, and enjoy a good meal. But last Friday, the staff of El Caballo de Oro noticed part of that was missing.
People used to kind of go in there in the lobby, and sometimes they feel like the must, and it's not comfortable. So a lot of people shy away from that.
Staff at the Mexican restaurant called their landlord to have someone check the AC. But according to the owner of Satterley Plumbing, Heating and Air Conditioning, the Mexican restaurant is not alone.
Whenever temperatures rise to this level, air conditioners are very taxed and stressed, and we get a lot of calls.
To avoid making these calls yourself, specialists recommend changing the AC filter and washing the condenser coil regularly, as these are some of the most common problems.
Not really anything causes it. It's just, especially when it's 100 degrees outside, people are going to want to stay cool, which who doesn't want to? And so it's running constantly. And so problems just arise.
They also suggest scheduling an annual maintenance to make sure the equipment will be ready when the temperatures rise.
Set up every year. We'll go out, we'll check your unit, we'll wash it, change your filters, and check all the electrical, make sure they're all running at top.
While most of the times you won't know your AC is not working properly until you start feeling your house warmer, knocking sounds and burning smells might indicate something is not right. Heating and Air Tech says temperatures above 105 degrees are beyond capacity for most AC units in our area.
Whatever temperature you keep it at, the odds are your unit is not going to shut off anyway. So I recommend people put it on the temperature they want and see what they achieve.
With the AC now fixed, customers at El Caballo de Oro can once again enjoy their meal in a cool atmosphere.
For the good thing that this week they're all in there and coming in, and it doesn't feel hot right now. I think it's fixed.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Specialists also suggest shading windows and making sure those windows are efficient to keep your room cooler. Limiting the number of times you open the door to the outside can also help. That's a look at our top news stories coming up on this half hour of the KOAM Morning News. A ring lost during World War II is found and returned to its rightful family. Plus, not only did the supermoon appear in Greece, it appeared in Johannesburg as well. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from the Crawford County Fair in Girard, Kansas. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, a gunman is dead and several Israelis are injured in an attack near a shopping mall in the occupied West Bank. Israeli Defense Forces arrived at the scene of a shooting Tuesday in the settlement of Ma'ale Adonam. Israeli police say a Palestinian man opened fire, wounding at least 5 people before being shot and killed. And a young doctor is dead and several others are injured after a hospital in Ukraine is hit by a Russian shelling attack. Images from the scene in Kherson show a hole in the roof and debris scattered everywhere. Ukrainian officials say the surgery department of the hospital was badly damaged. A medical charity says the facility was being used to store medical equipment and provide mental health care to displaced residents. This wasn't the only attack by Russian forces. An elderly woman was killed and a man was injured in another shelling in a village in northern Ukraine near the Belarus border. Powerful typhoon Kanum slammed into Japan's island of Okinawa, bringing high winds and heavy rain on Wednesday. Officials have ordered more than 600,000 residents to evacuate as the storm took out power lines, leaving households without electricity. The slow-moving storm is steadily weakening, but could potentially bring rainfall and high wind gusts over China's eastern Zhejiang province and along the coast near Shanghai in the next few days. Typhoon Kanun comes just days after the region was hit by Typhoon Dorksukri. The military rules in Myanmar have pardoned detained leader Aung San Suu Kyi for 5 charges of what she was convicted. The 78-year-old still faces sentences for 14 other alleged offenses. Sources say the charges that were pardoned include offenses against defamation, natural disaster laws, import and export law, and telecommunication law. This comes as Myanmar's Supreme Court is set to hear appeals by Suu Kyi against her convictions over the next 2 weeks. She denies all of the charges she's faced, saying they're politically motivated. If your summer plans involve going on a vacation abroad, you're not alone. According to AAA, international travel is up by more than 200% compared to last year. But if you don't speak the native language of the country you're jet-setting to, it may be a little tricky getting around. Jackie Ibanez takes a look at the unique device breaking down language barriers overseas and helping tourists travel with ease.
Summer and vacations usually go hand in hand. And with international travel numbers still rebounding after the pandemic, taking a trip overseas may sound like a fun idea. But it can be stressful if you don't speak the native language, especially if you're trying to find your way around a foreign location.
How much is a ticket to Harajuku?
Now, a new device inside a Japanese train station is making tourists' lives easier by translating their conversations and helping them navigate one of Tokyo's busiest areas.
The display we have introduced can automatically translate between Japanese and other languages. When customers speak in a foreign language, the station attendant can see it in Japanese, and when the station attendant speaks Japanese, customers can read the sentences in their own language.
The translated conversations between tourists and station employees are displayed on a semi-clear wall, and it's meant to help facilitate more lengthy and complex exchanges.
You feel safe immediately because you know there is a human on the other side, so you take your time to explain what you need, and you will know that they will understand what you need.
And for some of you who are wondering why this device is needed when similar technology like Google Translate already exists,
Google Translate isn't always available because you don't always have Wi-Fi everywhere you go. So places like this, it's also much faster than pulling up your phone, typing everything out.
Besides Japanese, the device can currently translate 11 other languages, including English, Spanish, French, and Mandarin. And the first of 2 supermoons illuminating the skies over Greece on Tuesday. The spectacular sight could be seen rising over the ancient temple of Poseidon in Cape Sonio. Its brilliant glow shining against the ruins of the building. Another supermoon, which is a full moon that is closer than normal to Earth, is expected to be even closer on the night of August 30th, when it will appear more than 222,000 miles away. The last time 2 super full moons appeared in the same month was in 2018. It's not expected to happen again until 2037. And the first supermoon of the month lit up the skies over Johannesburg, South Africa as well. The moon appearing bigger and brighter Tuesday because it was closer to the Earth than normal, a mere 222,159 miles away. Another supermoon is set to appear on August 30th, and that will be even closer to the Earth at 222,043 miles away. The lunar event at the end of the month will be called a blue moon, named that because it's the second full moon in a month. And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 5:46 now on this Wednesday morning, and we've got a couple of little showers. We got a little thunderstorm and a little shower here. Not much else going on right now, but what we're watching is this. These are decaying thunderstorms, and believe it or not, they're actually lifting almost northeasterly. But do you see these outflow boundaries that they've pushed off? These outflow boundaries are moving southeasterly, and they are triggering some new storm development we're hoping will push into parts of our area. Now, these may not make it into our area, and if they do, they may not last very long, but at least some of us could see a few morning showers, which I know nobody would complain about. Here's what we've got going on that I think everybody is complaining about. We've got excessive heat warnings for nearly every county in our area as we head into the evening hours. This is for heat index values anywhere from 105 to 115 degrees where we are here. where heat exhaustion is likely, heat stroke is very possible with these kinds of heat index values out there. So we keep reminding you, you've got to take this seriously. It's just as if these were severe warnings for severe thunderstorms or tornado warnings. These are just as serious when it comes to excessive heat. So make sure you're staying hydrated, taking frequent breaks, limiting your outdoor activities, wear lightweight, light-colored clothes if you have to be outside, and make sure you're checking on the elderly and your pets. Don't leave them outside too long either. MoDOT camera 20th and Range Line, we're looking good so far, and we're looking all right from the KDOT camera at 69 and East 520th Avenue, of course, just south of Pittsburgh. And our camera at 7th and Range Line, we've got some clouds out there, partly cloudy skies, 82. It's hot, feels like 87. Dew point way up there at 72. Humidity is at 71%, and all of us off to a very warm start this morning. 80s, Iola, Fort Scott, Lamar, 82 in Carthage, Parsons, Neodesha, Yates Center, 83 in Chanute, 79 Chetopa, Miami, Neosho, and 77 in Monette. And as we get our morning started, again, we're putting on the isolated showers, as we could see a couple of those push into the area, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for those. Otherwise, we're going to be partly cloudy, warming up, low 90s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, an unpleasant one for sure. Temperatures into the lower 100s out there under mostly clear skies. It's just going to be hazy, hot, and humid. And no relief from the heat through the evening. We stay hot heading into the evening hours, 95 at 8, 89 by 10. Overnight lows only back into the lower 80s across the area. And some of us up north may even make it into the upper 70s if we're lucky. We're going to hold on to this dangerous heat through at least Saturday. So I know Saturday's not triple digits, but I mean, it's 97. It's close enough. We're going to hang on to hot, humid conditions through at least Saturday. Thunderstorm chances late tomorrow night into Friday morning. They're low, but at least they're there. Then we start to see slightly better thunderstorm chances heading into the weekend and into the start of next week. And the big thing that we see is this really big temperature drop. I mean, we are talking, what is that, upwards of 15, 20 degree drop in temperatures back in the lower 90s and upper 80s. Now we'll go back into the lower 90s as we head into the next work week, and we'll see additional thunderstorm chances by the end of the next work week. But again, the good news is we will see relief from this heat. We just need to get through today, tomorrow, Friday, and into Saturday, and then we'll finally get that much needed break. We'll be right back after this, but first we're going to take another live look from the Crawford County Fair in Girard.
A ring found across a vast ocean in Europe where it was lost during World War II. Now the man who found it is visiting its original owner's family in Hawaii. Mark Carpenter has the story.
We first brought you the story of Staff Sergeant Robert Kuroda just over a year ago, a Medal of Honor recipient and member of the famed 442nd Regimental Combat Team who died fighting in World War II. Many of his relatives had only heard of his bravery, but the connections to his heroic legacy rekindled thanks to a discovery made by a French collector.
We're just so happy and appreciative of Sebastian, because what Sebastian did is he found the ring and he went out of his way to return the ring to the family.
That ring is Staff Sergeant Kuroda's class ring from Farrington High. For nearly 80 years, it had been buried in a forest near Brières, France, until Sebastian Rua came along.
He is a metal detector hobbyist. So he and his friends over the years have found different things. He told us he found 3 rings. It was the only ring with markings that he was able to return to the family. The 2 other rings didn't have any markings, so he was not able to present it.
On va dire j'ai eu beaucoup de chance. He was systematic, but also he was lucky. He think luck was on his side for the matter.
You could call it luck, but the Kuroda family considers it fate. They visited France last year to thank Sebastian and bring the ring home to Hawaii.
We spent 4 wonderful days, and it was the French's version of kindness, hospitality, and aloha.
And this week, the Kurodas are returning the favor, hosting Sebastian and his family on their first trip to the islands. Today, they showed the heirloom, proudly displayed at the Kurodas' longtime auto body business. And Kevin considers this reunion the power of the ring.
There's so many sacrifices that the 442 and 100th have done, all veterans, and yet over time, that acknowledgement, has been forgotten. And just one ring has just lifted the remembrance of the sacrifices. It's also brought family members closer.
And Sebastian is touched. A find in the woods has led to a new lifelong bond.
So you found much more than a ring then? Donc vous avez trouvé plus qu'une bague.
Oui, une famille.
Yes, they found a family.
What an amazing story. Glad the ring was returned to its family. We'll be right back. This lucky cat in suburban Nashville only has 8 lives left. The kitten became trapped 6 feet under Sunday after falling down a drain pipe. Firefighters responded to the scene and were able to rescue the scaredy cat. They say this is a good reminder to make sure any sewer drain washout pipes on your property have caps on them. Today is expected to be a special day at the London Zoo. On International Golden Lion Tamarin Day, 3-month-old kumquat will hop off mom's back to explore its habitat for the first time. Kumquat was named for the vibrant colors it shares with the fruit. The baby lives with parents in the London Zoo's temperature-controlled rainforest. Out in the wild, golden lion tamarins are endangered because of habitat loss and illegal pet trade. It's estimated that about 1/3 of the wild population originated from conservation zoos. And NASA is getting ready to take the streaming wars to the moon. The space agency released this new trailer for its first on-demand streaming service called NASA Plus. NASA says the family-friendly service will feature the agency's live streams collections of its original video series and some new series just for streaming. NASA Plus will be free and it will not require a subscription. The service is slated to launch later this year and will be available on the web and on most major platforms, including Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
We've got excessive heat warnings out there for the majority of our counties for heat index values 105 to 115. We're hot. Could see a few isolated showers. They're going to be very isolated, but we could see a couple of those out there this morning. We'll go into the low 90s by late morning as we head into the afternoon. Mostly clear skies, temperatures into the lower 100s across the area. And as we head into the evening, no relief from the heat. We stay hot, we stay clear, and our overnight lows warm as well, back into the lower 80s across the region. Triple digits last through Friday. Hot weather continues into Saturday, and then thunderstorm chances begin to build in. And as we head into the start of next week, our temperatures begin to fall back into the upper 80s and lower 90s. We'll be back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.